all over the place. Pataki appoints landlord lobbyists to mortgage boards. Landlords sue Long Beach to repeal rent regulations. Landlords lose MBR lawsuit, victory for rent-controlled tenants. Oh, that's good. So let me give you their number. I'll pause a second while you get a pencil and paper. Of course, it's Manhattan 212. They are upstate, of course, all over. This is Halloween, and this is why I'm wearing orange. Number. Two, 1, 2. 695. Route number near the Fogs Neck Bridge. 695. 4314. 4314. The Manhattan Neighborhood Network, they have this newspaper that comes out. Look at the programs they put on. 700 programs in a week, is it? Or in a month? Look at them. But this is just Tuesday. Chat with Glendora is on there Thursdays at 8:30, and we just got a nice call from Lorraine Bannister, who wants a happy book. But this is about the great victory for public access, censorship test case. Dave Channon writes about it, and then the lawyer for them, Michael Greenberg, writes a story about it. People want to see you. Yeah, they want to see how much you've grown. Yeah. Awful big light, though, isn't it? Yeah, it's an awful big light. Yeah. 10 weeks, folks. Isn't it wonderful that he or she is healthy? She's not healthful. You ought to see the scratches on my legs. That she's robust and normal. And she is so cute. The prancing and the body style is just terrific. A great little creature, by God. So, we're going to stop and have some jokes now. She was so scared by the feedback. You look like a Halloween cat. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. She is a Halloween cat. Halloween is All Souls Eve. It's a religious day, and let us be religious. That means don't scare anybody in church. Oscar? You think Oscar, if he's a boy, do you think Oscar would be a good name? Would Oscar be a good name? You're not moving. Something must be wrong. You're not moving. You're perpetual motion. Teacher asked the class what the Poles, P-O-L-E-S, were doing in Russia in 1940, and Irene said holding up the telephone wires. And what kind of birds do we usually find in captivity? Jailbirds, said the student. And man at a bus stop said to the man also waiting for the bus, do you know how long the next bus will be? And the man says approximately 41 feet. This is a sad case of two young men who came through our southeast bedroom window and took 9 little toy money boxes off of the wall. And I realized it was a robbery. At first I thought that the humidity had made the little toy money boxes fall. And I thought when I saw the curtain all askew that the cats had done that. But it turned out to be a robbery, and I reported it, and Officers Lee and Kelly investigated it, and they did a superlative job. Give the White Plains Police credit, and they found the thieves. And the thieves are two 17-year-old boys. And now the case has gone from the White Plains City Court into the County Court, and there's going to be, I had a letter from the Assistant District Attorney, Michael D'Addario, today, asking me the value of those little boxes, and it's $2 a piece, 9 boxes, $18. And look at this, their lives are tainted. And they're poor parents. One of them lives in the Highlands, and one of them lives over toward the edge of White Plains, going into Silver Lake. That is so sad. Oh, that is so sad. And so there's going to be a conference between the lawyers and the judge, and if they plea bargain, the case will, I don't know what happens if they plea bargain. And then if they don't, the case goes back to White Plains, and they go before a grand jury, and they're charged, and then that's terrible. I feel so sad about that. And compared to the crime of John C. Malone, Bob Magnus, Telecommunications Incorporated, and those other names that you see upon the screen. This is files 36 and 37. 37 was started this week. These files only last a couple of weeks. Here is their law-breaking, their betrayal to the United States of America. They're lying and they're covering up. And they're paying a lawyer to do that. That's what a lawyer is, a liar for hire. And after you and I met last Thursday, October the 24th, Friday the 25th, I went down to see if Judge Jones had made a decision on my order to show cause before her, which has to be acted upon quickly, for a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction on Malone, Magnus, and TCI from robbing us of our TV production studio in White Plains, if she had made a decision on that order. And no, she hadn't. And here, this is going to happen tomorrow, Friday, November 1st. So I took the only order I had from Judge Jones, which is a very frivolous order, to transfer my case from Manhattan to White Plains. You know, who cares? Is this what's important in the United States of America today, or is it free speech? Because that's what's important. And so I took the only order that I had, and I took it to the pro se clerk, and as you looked at that order, there really was nothing to appeal there. And the pro se clerk really didn't have the answer this time. And so I went over to the pro se attorney in the United States Court of Appeals, and I was told that I could do a couple of things. I couldn't really appeal that order because it wasn't an appealable order. I'm an appealing person, you know. I do a lot of appeals. And, but the pro se attorney said I could start a new action in the United States Court of Appeals, and that would be a mandamus. And mandamus is a Latin word. It's the first person plural for we command. To command Judge Jones, the United States District Judge, to decide whether I was going to get a temporary restraining order or whether I was not. But one way or the other, if she had decided that, I would have an appealable order. And I could appeal it before the United States Court of Appeals, Second Circuit. So that's what happened there. And then, I believe Monday, Andrew Mohan, her courtroom deputy, called me and said that there was an order, and this order is nothing but a dippy order to transfer the case to White Plains. Well, that's stupid. We have 4 judges in White Plains. Bryant has been occupied with Glendora versus Cablevision for 3 years. You know he's not going to take it. Rakoff, we're waiting for a decision on Rakoff, Glendora versus Malone about giving us back Channel 8. And that's all free speech. And Rakoff said September 27th conference that he hoped to have a decision by the next week. Well, now it's October 27th, a whole month, and that hasn't happened. So you see, Rakoff is too busy to take it. Connor had to recuse himself in disgrace when I caught him red-handed ex parte. That leaves one more, Parker. And Parker, I'm arguing before the United States Court of Appeals November 12th, Armistice Day, Veterans Day, that he's a traitor to his country because he didn't protect free speech on Glendora versus Continental, Hofstadter et al. So there's only 4 judges in White Plains, and I've got every one of them busy on these cable TV operator arrogance and ignorance and traitorship to the United States. So that's stupid to order that the case be assigned to White Plains. And it's stupid to say that the United States District Court in Manhattan didn't know what they were doing when they assigned the case to Barbara Jones in the first place. Barbara Jones is a former United States attorney, assistant United States attorney for the First District. No, it's not the First District, it's the Southern District. Can't you just be quiet? Do you always have to be biting my fingers? Do you? Thank you. So I think that's all the action that's been on TCI since I last talked to you last Thursday. What is pending? The decision by Rakoff. The decision on Judge Jones on Glendora versus Telecommunications Incorporated, where these traitors to their country turned down the audio on my last program, April the 30th, 1996, because I was reporting on their law-breaking and their lying and their covering up of the same. That's out-and-out censorship. There's a motion before Judge Jones to dismiss that. That is pending. And then the nonsense about taking the case to White Plains, while tomorrow, while Rome burns, United States District Court, Judge Jones, fiddles. Copy of that order yet where she assigns the case to White Plains, but I had it read to me over the phone, thank you, Andrew Mohan, and this is my response to that, and it's 16 pages of why that is wrong and why she isn't doing her job. I'm trying to find you the stats, how much money the law-breaking, lying, and covering up of Malone has cost us. Look, Key, I gotta go out and buy you some ping pong balls. You think that I am your toy. $4,269.59 in printing, posting, rip-off court stenographies, lawbreaker, traitor to his country. Bob Magnus, John C. Malone, Telecommunications Incorporated, and all of these robbers you see on the screen have cost Franklin and me 1,686 and a quarter hours, and if you multiply that by 250 hours, which is what these lawyer monopolists, antitrust get for gouging the public, we have done $421,562.50 worth of legal labor. 47 weeks of emotional disturbance, 7 months of murdered speech, 9,769 pages of law-breaking, lying, cover-up, and that's 3 file drawers, and 1,120 mailings, 113 chapters on TV, 1/2 hour each of law-breaking, lying, cover-up, and betrayal to America. I used to be able to read you the papers. I had time to read you the papers, but your free speech on that matter has been infringed upon. So has mine to tell you. And it is TCI's fault. John Malone, Bob Magnus. And I was so happy to read that John Malone was called by cable investors to Phoenix, Bear Stearns, to show cause why the stock dropped from It's all right, Kitty. It's feedback. Oh, how she hates that feedback. The stock has dropped from $18 to $11, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Jokes. Billy, a city slicker, said to the boy upstate, I went to PS 81 in New York City. And the upstater says, what's PS stand for? And Billy says, poop students. And the fireman was giving a fire prevention class to the third graders, and he said to a little girl, what would you do? And the fireman was giving a fire prevention class to the third graders, and he said to a little girl, what would you do if your clothes caught on fire? And she says, I wouldn't put them on. And Harold is talking to God, and he says, God, how long is a million years to you? And God said, a second. And Harold says, well, God, how much is $1 million to you? And God said, $10. And Harold says, well, God, would you loan me $10? And God said, certainly. Just a second. Thank you, Mary Miller, LTV. It's a Cablevision system. East Hampton, Amagansett, and Montauk. Thank you so much for sending back all of these tapes. Thank you so much for cable casting them. And I'm happy to announce that I am on all of the cable systems in Long Island. There are 5 of them. I'm on, the first one I was on is this one, Woodbury system, which covers all of Nassau, Huntington, Islip, and Babylon. And now I'm on the second one to the east. That's the old Viacom system, Cablevision of Long Island, Hauppauge. And we thank Judy for that. And then keep going east. The next one is Riverhead and also TCI Brookhaven. And this one, Mary Miller's East Hampton. And Chris Ehring. I like talking to them. I like calling them up at 2:30 Tuesday and hearing my program on the telephone. I would also like a primetime spot, if you folks could manage it. Big news in Long Island, as always, is Americans for Legal Reform. And there's a bumper sticker. Good going, Carl Lancazer and Harvey Cash. Harvey Cash filed counterclaims, not counterclaims, but whatever, against Sergeant Manzillo and against the head of the Suffolk Bar Association. I believe his name is Purcell. And they lost their case against Harvey Cash. The reason they don't like Harvey Cash and Carl is that they go, as they did yesterday, and stand in front of the Suffolk County Courthouse, the Cohalan Court Complex, and they tell people about lawyers and about their lying and about how they rip people off, and they do this every other month at Suffolk and alternating with Nassau Supreme Court. And it is a good thing to do, and God bless Julie Gambino. She's out there every day handing out literature, how to protect yourself from your lawyer. I have a joke. 3 ropes were walking down the street, and they decided to go into the restaurant and have lunch. And they were about to order, and the head waiter says, "Wait a second, aren't you ropes? We do not serve ropes in this restaurant." So out on the sidewalk, one of the ropes got very angry, and he said, "He can't do that to me." And so he went back, he tousled both of his ends. He tied himself into a knot. He went back into the restaurant, he sat down, and he's ordering, and the head waiter says, "Wait a second, aren't you a rope?" And he said, "I'm afraid not." Here I'm going to show you a picture of the article, a picture of Harvey Cash that was in Newsday. There's the kitten. That came out yesterday, Wednesday, October 30th. Today is October 31st, Halloween. Good going. And now I got a kitten climbing up my leg. Vision Investigation Book, Volume 1. The investigations are up to 500 pages. This is Cablevision Investigation Book number 2. And there are some things that I have to read you from that. First of all, this is file number 46 of Cablevision Law-Breaking, Lying, and Covering Up. And I want to read you the stats. That doesn't include this week, but with what ended last week. Did you ever try to get your work done with this going on all day? This is the Halloween cat. Cablevision, Dolan, Tata, Quinn et al. Have cost us $7,549.73 in print, post, rip-off, court stenographer fees, and courts fees. They have cost us 3,532 hours of our lives fighting their law-breaking. And you multiply each hour by $250 per hour, which is what these rip-off lawyers, antitrust, monopolists get. Cablevision, Dolan, Tata, Quinn have cost us $883,000 worth of legal fees. It's close to $1 million. 46 volumes, 13,706 pages, 5 file drawers of bad record that we had to keep on these people. 290 TV programs, a half an hour each, all bad record. 2 years, 11 months of law-breaking, lying, and covering up. 324 mailings. O'Brien, who improperly stayed my trial of Cablevision, I am going to bring all these people to White Plains, and I am going to have them tried before a jury of their peers. And that was about to happen on March 4th, and 4 days before that, Judge Bryant stayed the trial. This was a terrible, atrocious thing that Judge Bryant did. And so when the Silverman decision came down, and Silverman didn't take Glendora off of TV again, I got a letter from Cablevision saying that they were not going to take me off of TV. And then I wrote to Judge Bryant, and I told him that I wanted to be put back on the trial calendar. And Judge Bryant's order came, and he's contriving more excuses. This is really bad when courts are interfered with by outsiders. So he's saying that he's not going to give me a trial calendar, or put me on the trial calendar until the appeals. And so I am writing a Rule 60B motion, Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, and asking Judge Bryan to relieve me of that atrocious order. If he doesn't, I will appeal it. It's a terrible condition our courts are in. Now, this went out this morning and went over to Staples as early as 7 o'clock this morning, Franklin and I, to get this printed, and this is an autopsy of Judge Silverman's decision in the Supreme Court, State of New York, County of Westchester, saying that he has no jurisdiction to say whether Glendora has a private right of action to enforce the law that no cable operator shall exercise editorial control over public use of channel. So this is an autopsy of that crazy decision, because that's already been adjudicated. On July 19, 1995, Judge Bryan in the United States District Court adjudicated that Glendora has a private right of action to enforce the law that no cable operator shall exercise editorial control over public use of channel. Now, so that went out this morning quite early. A chat with Glendora started on the Hauppauge system, and it was on 9:30 p.m. Friday night, October the 27th. And a woman called up, and she says, I think it's terrible that Mother Angelica was taking off a TV and a chat with Glendora was put on. Well, so do I. And the reason that has happened is that Cablevision has been allowed to put us on the Telecare channel, share it with them, instead of giving us our own freestanding public access channel. It is the law, federal, state, and municipal, that we have our own public access channel. So the move is on to make Cablevision give us our own public access channel. You are entitled to your own public access channel. So Richard Einhorn and myself went to One Media Crossways on Tuesday, October the 29th, and we rallied with posters and chants. No more share Telecare. We want our own public access channel. No more share Telecare. We want our own public access channel. So the movement is on. And it's not going to be very pleasant, because that is our right. You have a right to be on TV. This is Halloween, as you can see by the orange and by the black cat. I have a new TV fan from Farmingdale. His name is Andrew Hersman. He's a former Cablevision employee, and he knows a lot of very bad things that Cablevision has done. And he has put up a Cablevision hate page on the internet. And guess what? He gets a letter from Cablevision's lawyers. Now, you know what a lawyer is. A lawyer is a liar for hire. This one happens to be Mark Fowler, the former FCC commissioner. And Mark Fowler is the lawyer that I beat so badly in the United States Court of Appeals on September 20th, 1994, on Cablevision violating my free speech by taking me off of TV in November of 1993. Will you go play with another toy? I am not your toy. Will you I gotta go get her a tennis ball or a ping pong ball. Will you go play with another toy? And I want to read you what this crooked Circuit lawyer, Mark Fowler, Sadley, Stevens, Burke and Burke, 230 Park Avenue, wrote to Andrew, threatening him to take his page about Cablevision off of the internet. Dear Mr. Hersman, we are the attorneys for Cablevision Systems Corporation, Cablevision. Who cares? Our client has asked you to review a copy of the Cablevision hate page, which you have apparently posted on the World Wide Web at http://chelsea.los.com/hersman/hate.html. Cablevision respects your right to publish your opinions, even when it vehemently disagrees with your point of view. However, the First Amendment does not give you a right to make false statements of fact concerning Cablevision. Regardlessly, your web page goes over the line of what is permissible under the law, I bet. In this letter, we will not attempt to itemize each and every false assertion yet set forth in your web page. Suffice it to say that many, if not all, of the pronouncements that you make about Cablevision's retaliations with Huntington Cable, Madison Square Garden Network, you bet, WLIG News 12, and the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, are not only defamatory but are demonstrably untrue. We object to anything you state that you do not know to be true. You know that these untrue statements are. Indeed, you acknowledge on your web page that none of what has been written has been proved in court. In fact, much of what you say cannot be proved for the simple reason that it is not true. Moreover, it does not relieve you of legal responsibility to characterize as opinions assertions of fact that Cablevision can prove to be false. We must ask that you remove your web page. Who's running the United States of America? In its present form from the web. It is no answer to this reasonable request that Cablevision can, in your words, use its freedom of speech to express its differing opinions. I am certain that if you were being falsely accused of unlawful activities, you would not think it is a sufficient remedy that you can air your differing opinions on the web. We must also demand that you remove the link to the official Cablevision webpage. Well, Mr. Hersman, I think, is going to sue Cablevision, and this is going to be a very interesting case, and it will be a landmark case. On Tuesday, October 29th, Franklin and I went to the Board of Elections at 9:15, and we came in to see some information, and I was looking in my Cable Investigations book as to what I wanted to look up next. And Bob Berry, who has been very obnoxious in the past and who has been very un-American in the past, and I have reported that to you, and I reported how bad the Board of Elections was maybe 5 or 6 weeks before Newsday did a 6 full pages about how bad the Board of Elections is in Nassau County. And so Bob Berry came to us and said, if you're not going to file a Freedom of Information form, I want you to leave. Well, I'm looking up the information that I want to file the Freedom of Information form on. And he says, I'm going to give you 5 minutes and then you'll have to go. I said, I don't think you can do that. The Board of Elections is a public place. And he says, well, we don't want people hanging around here. Well, we weren't hanging around here. And then I went down and I found the file that I wanted to ask for, and it was Cablevision it was the Yes Committee. And I know that this committee has become no longer functions, and that it was absorbed by the Cablevision Political Action Committee. And so I went and made a Freedom of Information form for the Cablevision Yes Committee for that file. And this woman came and said, you'll have to put down your telephone number. And I said, there's nothing on this form that requires a telephone number. That's how bad they are down there. And so I gave her the telephone number. Easy enough, 516-425-0304. And then they get a watcher, and they only get one watcher, and that's against the law or the rules. There's supposed to be two watchers, a Republican watcher and a Democrat watcher. I get only a Republican watcher. And the file that they give me is the wrong file. They don't give me Cablevision Yes Committee or whatever it's called. They give me Cablevision PAC Committee, and I've gone through that file, and I have it here to read to you. And so I go to protest that this is the wrong file, and Beth says, get away from the door. They wouldn't have a door there unless it was a swinging door like a bar room. They wouldn't have that unless it was for me. And this all ties in with what I'm going to reveal to you. And she says, stand back, get away from the door. And I said, I'm not getting any service here. Well, Barry's on the phone. So there's other people working there besides Barry who can simply get out a file. Yes Committee file. And so I figured out why Barry says, we don't want you to hang around here, and I figured out why Beth says, get away from the door. They're doing things that they don't want you to know. We're going to see those things, and we're going to report them to you. So you see, it's illicit activity, it looks like to me, and it's an attempt, secondly, to cover it up. So much for the Board of Elections, which has made a very bad showing, and that was borne out by Newsday's article on October 13th. 6 pages, and I showed them to you last week. 6 great big pages. No, I can't find my place like that. Anyway, I wanted you to know, I told you how Charles Dolan gave $10,000 to the Cablevision Political Action Committee, and how Helen Dolan, his wife, gave $10,000 to the Political Action Committee. Today, I want to read to you how they handled the next big influx of money. Shouldn't have lost me. This is a report, a statement for the period from January the 12th, 1996 this year, to July the 11th, 1996, the first half of the year. Cablevision Lightpath Incorporated donated to the Cablevision Political Action Committee $5,000. AR Cable Services, the old Adams-Russell cable TV, which was the Lindbrook system, donated $5,000. V-Cable Incorporated, which I think is the old Viacom system, which is Hauppauge, donated $5,000 to the Cablevision Political Action Committee. Bravo donated $5,000. American Movie Classics donated $5,000. Rainbow Advertising Sales donated $5,000. I remember paying Rainbow Advertising Sales $10,000 back in 1990 or 1991 when I bought spots on Sports Channel. And I think I bought $10,000 worth of their cable TV time. And it turned out to be a flop. Broadcast is still king when it comes to TV advertising. Sports Channel Associates donated $5,000. That is $40,000 that went into the Political Action Committee. So you keep on looking at the file, and you find out where this money went. Friends of Frank Petrone, $450. Democratic Organization of Queens County, $350. Committee to elect David Rosado, $200. Friends of Michael DeMarco, $100. Friends of June who is E.T. Etzlano, $250. The Chairman's Club in Bohemia, New York, $500. The 1996 inaugural ball, Nassau County Republican Committee, $5,000. Cablevision Political Action Committee gave to that. What is this money given to these politicians for? What is Cablevision buying from these politicians? Friends of Tom Suozzi, $300. Spendler campaign in Yonkers, New York, $500. I guess it's the Nassau County Democratic Committee, $2,500. Committee to re-elect Sal F. Albanese, $100. Abbott for Assembly, $150. Friends of Ephraim Gonzalez, $200. Suffolk County Republican Committee, $1,200. Committee to re-elect Assemblyman Darrell Towns, $130. Brooklyn Democrats, Brooklyn, New York, $2,500. Republican State Committee, something annual governor's reception, $2,000. Huntington Town Democrat Committee, $375. It's an interesting investigation, isn't it, folks? Now, there are several letters in the Cablevision Political Action Committee file that or scold the Cablevision PAC for not making their reports, several of them. And so we're going to investigate those further. After that, we went to the county clerk, and we looked up the file on Julie Kessler versus News 12, Patrick Dolan. And we copied some pages. We don't have very much money, and they charge $0.25 for a copy, which is a rip-off. You can get a copy for 2 cents. And we have some pages there to read you from the complaint. The year, well, it might have started in 1991, 2, and 3, but eventually, well, I don't want to jump the gun here. Julie Kessler made a complaint of sexual harassment in News 12, and there was an investigation and a person was fired. And she also made a complaint to the Department of Labor, New York State, that Cablevision News 12 was not paying for overtime. I'm reading to you from her complaint. On or about March the 11th, which was filed in August of 1994. On or about March 11, 1994, plaintiff was informed that the Department of Labor had determined that News 12 had violated the overtime laws, and that she could bring an individual action to recover any back wages. So she won on that. On or about April 5, 1994, at a reported staff meeting, Patrick Dolan announced that the Department of Labor had concluded its investigation concerning overtime and had determined that associate producers, assignment editors, and reporters were entitled to overtime compensation. Patrick Dolan informed the staff that News 12 was going to contest only that portion of the decision that held that reporters were entitled to overtime pay. Poor reporters. On or about April the 1st, 1994, plaintiff was informed that she had been awarded a Folio Award for a story she had done on consumer fraud. That's what A Chat with Glendora started out in Long Island with, consumer fraud of Scott Lord and the Department of Consumer Affairs not doing its job about it. Patrick Dolan criticized plaintiff for being the only reporter at News 12 to win an individual Folio Award, precluded the cablecast of a subsequent development in the story for which the plaintiff, Julie Kessler, had won the Folio Award. On or about April 14, 1994, Dolan called plaintiff into his office and reprimanded her about the attribution in one of her stories. Patrick Dolan also reprimanded her for being the only individual folio winner at News 12, accused her of not being a team player, and told her that if she wanted to stay on at News 12, she should refuse to accept her folio award and tell the director of the folio awards that she was outraged that News 12 did not receive any other folio awards. Plaintiff told Dolan that she felt awkward relaying that complaint to the executive director and that she wished to accept her folio award, but she would not do so if he insisted. He responded that accepting the award would be insubordination and grounds for her dismissal. This is Patrick, according to this complaint, saying this. The plaintiff started to feel physically ill and excused herself from the meeting. Plaintiff's heart began to palpitate and she left the building in an ambulance. The next day, plaintiff called in sick. The day after, which was a Saturday, News 12's attorney telephoned plaintiff and informed her husband that she should not return to work. She received a termination letter the following week. At all times, plaintiff's job performance was exemplary. This is Julie Kessler. And Julie Kessler has suffered humiliation, mental anguish, and emotional distress due to defendant's retaliatory conduct. And the first claim for relief. Plaintiff repeats and realleges each and every allegation. As we always say, the above acts and practices of defendants constitute unlawful retaliatory practices within the meaning of sections 296 section 296(7) of the executive law. Defendant's conduct was willful and malicious. Now the defendant in this case is News 12, Patrick Dolan. As a result of defendant's retaliatory acts, plaintiff Julie Kessler has suffered and will continue to suffer irreparable injury, monetary damage, and damages for mental anguish, emotional distress, and humiliation, and until this court grants relief. Well, that is all that I can read you this week. I have 2 more pages and 1 sentence to read you, and so I have to read that to you next week. This is the case again of Julie Kessler versus News 12, Patrick Dolan.